Hi, this is Tom Shanahan. I'm the author of Spiritual Adrenaline, a lifestyle plan to strengthen and nourish your recovery. And I'm privileged today to have Sean Smith with me as my guest. Sean is a co-founder of ROCovery Fitness in Rochester, New York. It was the first sober active community to be formed in the state of New York. It's expanded as well. He's a resident of Rochester. He was born and raised. After graduating from high school, Sean joined the military. He'll share about his lifelong goal of becoming a ranger when he shares about his story, but he served two tours of duty, one in Kuwait and one in Afghanistan. He'll also talk a little bit about today his history of going from long periods of abstinence to then binge drinking and how it impacted his military career and his life generally. He'll also share about the support that he received in the military when he was open about his drinking problem in the context of Halfway House and other support he received while he was in the military and since then, and how he came to found ROCovery Fitness. Sean, thank you so much for coming on here today. And thank you so much again for your service to your country. Why don't you just maybe say hi and share a little bit more about your background and what makes you qualified to be here on Spiritual Adrenaline talking about the issues we're talking.
Sure, Tom. Um, yeah, so Tom covered a lot of, the general aspects of my story. I did. I wanted to become an Army Ranger, but I wanted to join the military because I suspected that I might have a drinking problem. And I needed some discipline in my life. So, I was sitting on the couch one day and I saw the Best Ranger competition on ESPN. And I said, I could do that. I want to do that. And so I joined the military at the age of 21. I had a few years where I tried college, didn't work. And my drinking just kind of picked up and I felt like I was going nowhere. So I needed some guidance and direction and the military provided me that. When I first joined, I joined on a Ranger contract. And during the physical for that, they found internal bleeding. And I wasn't able to go to Ranger school right away. Fast forward 4 years, I got off of active duty, came back home, joined the National Guard, and my drinking continued. It escalated. And what I didn't know was that, me joining the military, sure, they provide me with that direction and guidance and discipline that I needed. But at the same time, it was like joining a fraternity, the world's largest fraternity. And I found guys that drank like me, whether it be binge drink or, go all week. If we had some time off, we would go all week. So I got home and I stayed on the straight and narrow for about, I'd say 6 months. Was going back to college. Like I said, I joined the National Guard. And I was doing well. And my drinking started to pick back up. It went from a couple times a month, binge drinking to, it would seep into the work week. And it just progressed. I had a fiance. She gave me an ultimatum. You either quit drinking or I'm leaving. And I said, well, I don't feel like I am an alcoholic, so I don't really understand. So you should probably go. And she did. She left me. And then I could drink the way I wanted. And, it went from, weekends and seeping into the work week to almost every day. I became a daily drinker. Now, during this time, I was deployed. I was deployed to Afghanistan at the end of 2007, 2008. I did a year over there. And, I thought when I came back, I'm just going to stick to beer. We experiment with how we're going to quit drinking or kind of control our drinking. And so I tried that experiment and it failed miserably. Within 2 weeks, I was back to drinking the vodka like I was before. I really struggled. I came back, I had some, later on I was diagnosed with PTSD. Back then I didn't know what the heck was going on with me. So my drinking, it was a new beast. I was a daily drinker before Afghanistan. Um, After Afghanistan, it was all day, every day. I would drink to go to sleep. I would drink to alleviate some of my symptoms. Um, and it was just horrible. No one wanted to hang around me. I started to isolate, suicidal thoughts popping in my head. And I knew something needed to change. I just didn't know how to do it. And I didn't want to reach out for help. And I think that's where a lot of veterans struggle, is reaching out for help, because we're taught, we're tough mentally and physically. We should be able to accomplish anything on our own.
Let me ask you a question about that, because tomorrow our country celebrates Memorial Day. And there's a lot of people who have served, like yourself, multiple tours of duty, active duty. It's got to be a hard day for a lot of reasons. They lost friends, brings back a lot of memories. What's your message to people out there, veterans who may have come back, who aren't as open as you are, about the impact of the service on them, about the resources that are out there to them if they need help?
There are so many. When I came back, I didn't realize just how many resources there were in the greater Rochester area. I didn't want the help, like I said, I wanted to try it on my own. And my message would be, on this Memorial Day, let's honor our fallen brothers and sisters by not picking up a drink or a drug, and picking up a telephone and calling our comrades. That's the way we honor our veterans that have fallen. That's the way we do it. We maintain contact. We build our brotherhood, and we make sure our brothers and sisters are okay, especially during this COVID crisis. I've had multiple veterans call me because they've relapsed. And I know a lot of veterans who honor their fallen brothers and sisters by drinking to them.
Yeah.
For a person in recovery, or a person who's trying to get sober, for me, that means death.
I hear you. You said there's a lot of resources. So maybe for people who aren't aware of what's available, you may want to just list a couple. And then at the end of the interview, I'm going to make sure that you provide people with how they can get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you to get more information. But do you have any recommendations on just a few resources that are available and very much willing to be there for veterans in need?
Sure. Well, there's always the Veterans Crisis Line. You can just Google that number. It's everywhere. The VA is doing online groups right now. I do know that. I'm not currently in any of their groups, but there's so many online resources. Mutual aid meetings, all of them have gone virtual. And I have really gotten to know a lot of people via Zoom, and Skype. People that I wouldn't normally interact with. They're showing up at these meetings, and we're building that camaraderie that we missed when we were on active duty.
I'll tell you, I was down in Pueblo, Colorado when my book was published, and I met veterans who had organized a local CrossFit group to work out. They're veterans in recovery that were integrating CrossFit they were at an event that was sponsored by Addict to Athlete. And I actually got to interview some of the members, and they talked about how exercise and the fitness portion of what was going on in the program helped them stay sober. So you're someone who's also benefited from the integration of, you're a high school athlete, right? So it comes naturally to you, the exercise, fitness, and then combining that with recovery, and it worked for you. So why does it work? And for people out there, maybe veterans, or even if they're not a veteran, they're listening to this interview, what's the benefit of combining the healthy lifestyle with an overall addiction recovery program?
I think you touched on a key point, combining it with an addiction recovery program. Fitness is essential for me. It maintains my physical and mental well-being. And it's the reason why myself and Yana started ROCovery Fitness. We started these workouts as well with people in recovery, and a lot of them being veterans. And we noticed that we were building a community. And that's so important in recovery, is to build that community. Everyone knows, the benefits of physical exercise. you talk to your doctor, he's going to prescribe you diet and exercise for almost anything that you have, whether it be physical ailments or mental health. So yeah, I mean, physical exercise for me, when I quit drinking, was essential. And a lot of people are like, do you think you're trading one addiction for the next? And I said, well, just as long as I'm not drinking a gallon of vodka a day, I don't see the harm in it. So yeah, I mean, through fitness, we built a community. I got to know people that just like with Zoom, that I normally wouldn't get to meet.
Let's talk about that, because ROCovery Fitness, again, you're my chapter 15 inspiration in my book. Each chapter tells the story of someone who is a founder of this movement we now call the sober active movement. So let's talk a little bit about the online or virtual services or classes or activities that ROCovery is offering right now during the COVID-19 pandemic, because a lot of people may not be aware, and it might become something that they rely on and they can participate in.
ROCovery, it operates on peer work. So we've hired a team of peers, and they'll do nightly or daily meditations, groups. There's also, fitness that obviously we do virtually. We'll do classes virtually. Some CrossFit style, some functional fitness, and yoga as well. So there's a plethora of activities. And as we start to, work in phases, we'll get back to outdoor activities. I feel like that's where we'll start with our outdoor programming.
Tell you, I know that you do the weekly hikes. Well, you had been doing the weekly hikes. I mean, you're just in the most perfect place on the planet with spring and summer coming for outdoor activities, hikes up in the Lake Placid region. You're near everything, the Fingers Lakes. It's just gorgeous up there. So if someone's interested in, first of all, maybe donating to ROCovery Fitness, because you're a not-for-profit. I know not-for-profits are really struggling right now, given what's happening. If they're interested in donating or learning more about the programming that's available at ROCovery, how can they go about getting some more information?
They can go to our website, www.rocoveryfitness.org, and just click on the sidebar. There's a donate now button, and also there's normally a calendar of events, but it's constantly updated. So yeah, they can just go to our website or Facebook page. A lot of the activities that are being posted, they're being posted to Facebook Live. So yeah, just go to our Facebook page, type in ROCovery Fitness. You'll find us on Facebook and follow us.
All right, that's nice and it's very easy. If you want to do it, it's a click away. So let me ask you, Sean, what's your message to veterans out there or people who are in active duty who have many of the same problems that you experience, whether in service or after service? What's your message to them out there right now, from your heart to to their ears?
Yeah, it's okay to ask for help. It was the hardest thing for me to do. It took an enormous amount of humility, one, but courage. We talk about courage in the military, and it's, sobriety is the best and hardest thing that I've ever done. I ended up going back to Ranger School, and I finished.
We want to share about the competition and just tell that story, because again, it's the perfect story for recovery, to be able to do things that you could never have done if you had continued drinking and to accomplish them. Why don't you just share on that point?
Sure. Yeah. So when I got back from Afghanistan, I ended up hitting the bottom, lost everything, lost my house, lost the truck. It was like a Bad Country song. Ended up going into treatment. And it took several treatments for me to finally take. And I found recovery in a veterans halfway house. It was such a humbling experience, but I went from a homeless veteran to an Army Ranger graduate and eventually competing in the Best Ranger competition in 2017. And I was able to do that because I got clean. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that had I not put down the drink, you know? So,
Can't
yeah,
think of a better message for people out there who are looking for hope. Thank you so much, Sean, for sharing your story, for offering an optimistic outlook on life. If you can just make that call and ask for help, and just for being an inspiration to so many people in the recovery fitness community, but also in the growing sober active movement. So thank you so much again for your service. Have a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day.
yeah, happy Memorial Day, everybody.